You're on? Okay, amazing. Okay, so let's review. Let's review your sheet. So we need actually let's pull the groups up. Who's the speaker in your group? No? Alright. So coming up, I want you to tell us start with answering how does the boy feel about the king?
He's a little bit like scared and intimidated, and he tries to act his best. And so he's
in the beginning he's scared. Okay.
Yeah, and intimidated.
Why?
Why? Because this king is so great, and he's just a little shepherd boy.
Okay. So he's right. So he's scared. He's intimidated. Okay. Tell me more. That's the beginning. What happens next?
Yes. So then the king is really impressed because he's playing on his flute really nicely. So he takes him into his palace, and then the king.
Tell me the feeling. Tell me the boy's feeling after he's taken to the palace.
He feels very like honored.
Okay.
Honored. So then the king even gives him the job of being secretary of the treasury because he's so impressed. So then he feels like even more great.
Okay.
But then some of the other ministers, they get jealous of him. So maybe he feels a little bit like, you know, like why is everybody being jealous of me? Just okay. So then they order. So the ministers make an accusation they make an accusation which wasn't true, that he stole from the treasury. So and then they say, oh, you should search through his house.
Hang on. Tell me the feelings that he feels after they search through his house and they find what he's doing. What do you feel after they search?
Maybe humble.
Why?
Because maybe humble because now the king thought so great of him, but now he really doesn't. That he's gonna search through his house.
But after he searches the house, they find the room.
Scared.
They find nothing in it. It's just that room. He sees the room. He sees the room after.
He feels very relieved because they all see that. Oh, really? He didn't steal from the treasure.
Okay, awesome. One more question. How does he act based on these feelings?
So when he's like scared and intimidated in the beginning, he acts very respectful and like accordingly, and also comfortable.
And then
does
he steal from the king? Does he steal from the king?
No. So then after when they're searching his house, he like feels very little and he acts like very innocent. Like, oh, I didn't do anything.
No, that didn't. He is innocent.
He is innocent.
So how does he really act?
Like himself.
Which is?
Like a shepherd.
Now, what's he really? If he didn't steal, what does he really actually do? Help her out. Anyone want to answer the question? Yeah? What is himself?
Humble and quiet.
And not stealing? What's it? Yeah, honest, right? He's honest. Definitely humble. That's a feeling, though. Believable, sort of. Okay, I'm going to take you up the father for a second. Thank you so much. Who's the speaker for the next group? Come on up, yeah, and tell me, how does this king feel towards the boy?
So in the beginning, or so he.
Yeah, how does he feel in the beginning?
Okay, so he's very, I guess, impressed.
Okay.
And also, I guess, thankful because finally he has someone to come work for him and make him happy.
Okay. And at the end, when he thinks the boy may have stolen, and he finds out the boy didn't steal, how does he feel?
Because he said he believed
that he was scared. So he feels very honest. Amazing. Do you want to tackle the action? How does the king act toward the servant?
In the beginning, he acts very gracious and generous to him because he's so impressed with his talents and he wants him to work for him.
Okay.
And then towards when they make the rumors, he's nervous, but he's also shocked.
Right.
So he's acts a little cautious.
Okay.
And then at the end, he acts the same as before, generous and happy.
Why is he happy?
Because he's relieved that the boy didn't really steal and he's really pleased.
Awesome. Thanks. That's true. You guys want to add anything? Anything you want to add to the chart?
Maybe by the king that he was also a little bit defensive. He acted a little defensive. Like,
He acted why?
because when the office, like the other like ministers said like how he was stealing, he like almost like felt like he wouldn't
So he really believes in boys' blood. Now, amazing. I like all you definitely got this very well. When you think of the king and their relationship between the king and the boy, and you talk about defensively, what is that thing called when you believe somebody will do what they say they'll do? What do you call it? Trust. Yeah. Trust him. Beautiful. There's definitely trust here. And the boy is coming from an empty place. Right? He's just a shepherd. He gave him stuff he didn't deserve. And the king trusts him that he's going to be loyal. Who's like the giver in this relationship? It's a trick question.
The king.
Yeah, the king is a giver. What's he giving?
Because he's giving him a job.
He's giving him a job. He's giving everything, right? And what is the boy giving in this relationship? A little tricky. What do you say, Anna?
I think his thanks and his talents.
So he's giving his thanks, but something else he gives the king. That the king is touched by. That the king is touched by, yeah.
I think that he gives up his old self.
True. Okay, hold that. That's good.
His trust.
Trust, but tell me the next. What's another word? When people trust him. I'm going to change it for you because we're running out of time. Loyalty. Okay? Now. Alright. Now's what the whole point is that I really want to get to. Pesach. Now we can figure out what does it have to do with Pesach. Yeah.
So I'm guessing that the Pesach Seder is like split into two halves, and one of them is slavery, one of them is Lula.
Right, but hang on.
And so we are like this shepherd boy who's first just like a lowly sheep, and then we become to this like great nation.
So, I should have first. But we're the boy, and who is the king? Hashem. Say that again. So, Hashem, we were lowly slaves, and Hashem took us out, right? How do we feel? Grateful, right? We love grateful. And the king, Hashem, right? He feels. What is Hashem? Why does Hashem choose us? What do we have that Hashem said, I'll take you out, I'll choose you? What do we do in Mitzrayim? Well, how are we loyal? What specifically? In Mitzrayim?
We kept our names and
Of course.
our clothing and our
Clothes, loyal, show clothes, language. What is it? Names. Okay, where this? One more thing we're going to do with the women. What do women do?
They still wanted to have kids.
Now it's common students. Imagine if you watch older brothers get killed and taken away, and it's time for you to get married. Your mom's like, "Great, let's get married now. Start a family." I'd be like, "No thanks, Mom. I think I'll just, not watch my children suffer the way I watched my brother suffer." But they didn't do that. They said the right thing to do is keep having Jewish families. We're going to do that. So we're incredibly loyal, even amongst pain. Hashem, from Hashem's perspective, He looks at us and how we're acting.
Maybe like he feels happy that each one of the resignation to like be their God.
So that he's happy. He's happy that we're loyal to him. He's happy that we're loyal to him. Beautiful. And how does he act therefore?
He helped us, he raised us in like the eyes of the world, and he makes us great.
How do you make us great specifically about Pesach?
He purified us throughout the house.
He redeemed us and well done. Okay. Now I put a name on the side because it happens to be we have two different names of Pesach, and we have four names of Pesach. Two of them represent how Hashem looks at our Chag, and two of them represent how we look at our Chag. Can you guys figure them out? Awesome. All right, Rachel, what's up?
I think it was cool we say like a Pesach because Hashem has over us and we're thankful for him not killing our
Gorgeous. Hashem's a little more tricky. Anyone want to chat about that one? Yeah?
like on Matzo because we're the ones who made Matzo even if we had so little time to get out of the time. And we're grateful to Hashem.
Yeah. And do you know that Pesach in the Torah it never says Pesach. No one calls it Chag Matzos. And the Gemara calls it Pesach. In the Gemara it's Midrabanan. We call it Pesach. We say Hashem, thank you for being us. And we say and Hashem says to us, thank you for being with us. Thank you for leading the right way. Thank you for going ahead, not changing your clothes, and not doing these things. Now, in about a week, you guys are going to sit at that Seder. Seder is full of acts. You're going to do a lot of action. You're going to go ahead and you're going to the matzah. We're going to have to do a lot more before that. But there's a lot of acts involved, a lot of mitzvahs involved. The question is, if you're like your mom when she asks you to take out the garbage, you go ahead, you do the Seder, just like you take out the garbage. Right? You go ahead and you do, right? How much is that worth to Hashem? Watch. So, before I leave today, I want to actually ask you how to take this to our Seder. We see that relationships are between two people. Each person has to be in their actions and their feelings. Hashem definitely acts towards us every day. The fact that we're sitting there healthy and alive is his action and love for you. So the question is, how are we going to go ahead and bring our feelings to our Seder next week? So I'm actually going to give you a card. It's totally personal, so you don't have to share this. I want you to sit for a second, think about how you feel with these feelings. Now, I'm happy I'm teaching 8th grade, even though I think it's still challenging. Abstract thought is really hard, and I'm asking you to talk about a relationship with a being that you cannot see. It doesn't talk to you the way your friends would talk to you. You got to think about how am I supposed to bring my heart and soul into this relationship when I can't even see you. Your mom, at least she can give you a hug, she makes you supper, right? The fact that your heart is pumping this very second doesn't touch us the same way as the one do. It's the same thing. So think for a second. I think too. How can we bring our heart into our relationships? We have to cut this short. I really want to give you 5 minutes, but we're running out of time. And I'm sure you're hungry. We want to take it home with you. Does anybody have a thought that they want to share? Yeah, okay. I'm impressed. Yeah?
So by doing what Hashem wants us to do, he's gonna send us miracles and stuff, and we'll be able to see it more clear.
You have a conditional relationship here. You want something bad to be an accident.
No, but you'll see the greatness, because
Alright.
that is what he's doing.
Okay, now I hear it. Yeah, we don't good.
Look for small things that you care about, and then write down that
Give me the gift. That's an amazing thing to do. They call those hugs. Hugs from Hashem. You find the right parking space. You don't miss the bus. Your teacher forgets to get the note from you. Like what? So what? Give me a small thing that you would notice. Let's say that's like a hug from Hashem. You want to share a hug?
it was. Well, I don't know if
Yeah, but you're missing a beautiful idea. The fact that you can look through those suppers. Yeah. Excellent. Little things like that. That's Hashem talking to us and giving us hugs. Yeah.
It's a big thing when people think of exactly waking up every day.
Beautiful. It's true. And sometimes we don't appreciate it until we hear stories. And it's a fact that we're able to bring that in and what you're saying. Yeah, Rachel.
One day we had like this little book report due, and I didn't even realize it was due or something, and I didn't even do it. And I was like trying to write it up before English came, and all of a sudden in the middle of class, she started class. She's like, "Girls, by the way, I was getting emails. Girls are having trouble, so I'm gonna make it due tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh my god, like that."
Now, when you can see those acts of love, it helps us feel it more in our relationship. Specifically with the Seder, that's what we're looking for. We want to come to our Yantiv, which is a celebration of our relationship with Hashem, and really be in this, not a one-sided relationship, but a really two-sided relationship by bringing our actions, which we're going to do. We're going to take that garbage out, I hope, but also our heart. Thank you for being 2 minutes.
Thank you.